think that was just too late to be on the live video. Just a hair too late. You'll have to sign up for the full audio episodes that include the pre-show in the treasure chest.
And always include buds.
At patreon.com. Hey, also, video viewers, apologies that yesterday's on-demand version of the video was so glitchy. I don't know what happened. It was streaming just fine, and then both all we do is take that video out of YouTube and put it around everywhere for people to have. That's why there's the unofficial video feed and stuff. But yeah, so there you go. Apologies for that. If we ever get to that, this is not a pitch either, but if we ever get to the level where we can, put resources behind video, then we'll roll local video and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard you were going to do it in 360 holographic 3D.
By the time we get to that level, that might be the obvious choice. I don't know.
Living on the edge.
Okay.
You want to do a podcast?
Yes. I was thinking that. It's like you read my mind.
Len. I feel like we should introduce Len this week.
I feel like we should probably do that too.
Nah, that's all right. That's cool.
All right, here we go.
When having tea with the Queen, you must remember 3 important things. 1, pinky up. 2, never wear a hat more audacious than hers. And 3, make sure you wear your DTNS t-shirt. To become Queen appropriate, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, May 1st. Happy May Day, everybody. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Darren Kitchen, founder at hack5.org, hak5.org. How are you doing, Darren?
Hey, I'm excellent. I'm super excited about today's stories, and it is just a freaking awesome Friday. So let's get right into it and jump right into those headlines, right?
Oh, hey, now wait a minute. You are trying to set me up for failure, sir. And I will not. That will not stand, because Len Peralta is here as well, back after an absence at which he successfully has committed his son to indentured servitude at a college of his choice.
That's right, a local college, and it was a lot of fun. Local college here in Cleveland called Case Western. You'll be attending in the fall as a freshman. So very, very cool, and a lot of really cool tech stuff that I'm sure you guys would absolutely love.
Len's going to be illustrating the show, so we're looking forward to that. But now, Darren, we can look at the headlines.
Okay.
Last night, Tesla announced batteries for home and business. The Tesla Powerwall is the one for the home. It's a 400-volt lithium-ion battery pack available to installers for $3,500 at the 10 kilowatt-hour model level and $3,000 at the 7 kilowatt-hour model level. It takes 60 to 90 minutes on average to install the 6-inch, 220-pound battery, which can go on walls either inside or out. Powerwall comes with a 10-year warranty, and you can pre-order for delivery later this summer. SolarCity told Fortune it will sell the 10 kilowatt-hour pack for $5,000, including installation and an AC converter that they'll also install. Tesla also announced the Tesla Power Pack. That's a 100 kilowatt-hour battery for larger utilities and enterprises, available for $250 per kilowatt hour. And it looks like they'll be already partnering with places like Amazon Web Services for data centers and Target and places like that. We're going to talk quite a bit more about this after the headlines in the main discussion. So hold your thoughts. Hold your applause for Tesla, or your boos, or your catcalls. I've been avoiding this next issue for days, but now it's official. 9to5Mac reports that Apple has confirmed the Apple Watch Tattoo-gate issue. I don't know if anybody's calling it that, but I've decided I'm going to. Apple revised a paragraph on its support page to say, quote, permanent or temporary changes to your skin, such as on some tattoos, can also impact heart rate sensor performance. The ink pattern and saturation of some tattoos can block light from the sensor, making it difficult to get reliable readings. We have our Apple Watch controversy, folks. Here it is. Congratulations. Go nuts.
Is it not an official Apple product until we have the official controversy? And
I kind of feel that way. Yeah, I feel like it's. I don't know if it. Is it real? Is it actually a launch until we've got some kind of yellowing of a screen, or you're holding it wrong, or something like that?
was going to say, You're Holding It Wrong is still near and dear to my heart. I can't actually think of any of my more favorite than maybe It Scrolls Like Butter.
Oh, It Scrolls Like Butter. It just makes me hungry thinking about it. The Verge reports Microsoft VP of PC, tablet, and phone at Microsoft, Joe Belfiore, said at Build yesterday that not everything will launch along with Windows 10 for PC this summer. Here's the quote. You should expect that the other devices, phone, HoloLens, Xbox, Surface, Hub, will be staggered, probably not on the same date as the PC. I like that he just kind of threw HoloLens in there in the middle. Like, oh yeah, HoloLens, because we all know it's going to be launching by the end of the year. Even the OS itself will continue to evolve after launch. He also said there's going to be a lot of rapid updates, new features, and app changes in the months after launch. He's saying think of Windows 10 as a service. It'll just keep getting better.
Yeah, well, don't promise it too much like that because you still want to be able to sell Windows 11. But yeah, no, I get what's going on. I mean, it makes sense, right? Do serial development. You make one thing, then you make another thing, then you make another thing. Because that parallel stuff, man, I can't remember the last time I had a parallel port. That's old school. Can't do too many things at once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other side of it is if they rush this stuff out all at the same time, then they might get it wrong, right? So you kind of I respect them being honest about it and saying, look, yes, Windows 10 is coming to all these platforms, but it's not all coming at once. We want to make sure that it's right as it gets out there, right? Is that fair? Yeah. By the way, I'm supposed to say hi to Joel, who Veronica met at the dog park today. Joel and Pike the pit bull. So that just came through on Slack.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Joel was at the dog park.
She sent it on Slack right at the beginning of the show, so it's important.
Hey, Joel,
she met a DTNS fan at the dog park. That's pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
TechCrunch reports that Microsoft has acquired pen technology and related assets from its partner N-Trig. N-Trig. Microsoft uses the pen tech in the Surface 3 and Surface Pro 3. Today's acquisition covers just the technology. It's unclear whether some employees are being transferred as part of this or not, but they have not acquired the company N-Trig itself. Mozilla has made its HTTPS plans official. We've talked about them before on the show quite a bit. VentureBeat reports Mozilla announced it intends to, quote, start removing capabilities from the non-secure web. Specifically, they mean sites that don't support HTTPS. Now, before you freak out, keep in mind that Firefox security lead Richard Barnes also said, we will have to monitor the degree of breakage and balance it with the security benefit. We're also already considering softer limitations that can be placed on features when used by non-secure sites. So their whole point isn't to make the web unusable in Mozilla. It's to productively encourage people to be more secure.
Right, and actually it's a kind of change of mindset, and it really emphasizes the power that the browsers have because it is your gateway to the web. And, you know, being that Mozilla still garners like a pretty good 20-something% market share, they can, you know, wield their weight in this way. And so previously, as we've seen, like, you know, more and more emphasizing the lock icon or making the HTTPS green instead of just black, and calling out when a site is secure, this is kind of the idea of saying like, oh, so you're not secure, and not just break it. Like we've seen those broken things where you go to, say, a self-signed SSL certificate page where you get the big red like, oh no, are you sure? And you have to add an exception, say, yes, I do trust this. It's our internal intranet, and we're too cheap for a certificate, or it wouldn't work on everything.
Right,
or
that's usually what it happens.
Our boneheads don't know how to install a CA on our machines, whatever have you. The idea here is just to say like, oh, so these little fun features that make the web more awesome, like cookies and WebRTC and all of the little nuggets of HTML5, like one by one, like maybe those we're not going to allow by default. I have a feeling that it's not going to break everything. There'll just be like another nuisance of you having to click, I accept, oh, right, this site needs cookies. And that's only allowed over SSL now, so I have to hit I agree to this pop-up. And eventually site owners will be like, wow, I'm really inconveniencing my users here. Maybe I should spring the $50 a year for a cert.
We had a fair number of developers complain that forcing security on a website isn't always appropriate. It causes a lot of costs and work, et cetera, et cetera. And they made some pretty good arguments. I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you think there is another side to this where there are websites who have a legitimate reason not to be secure because they're not sending information back and forth, they're not setting cookies, they're just maybe flat pages?
Right, and I had issues with this when I was a systems administrator, where we would have like internal sites where it was just not even on a domain, it was just some IP address internally that would need a self-signed certificate or stuff like that. And I sympathize with the headaches of this, and I think like the bigger picture that I don't want to go down this rat hole is that the whole trust model of SSL is broken with certificate authorities that may or may not be working with nation states to do ill. So, I mean, that notwithstanding, overall, I can still say SSL is better than nothing. It is good that we have TLS and HTTPS and all that stuff. So if you can do it, it's gotten easier and easier. The idea of encrypt the web, like soon enough we'll see free certificates and easy to implement, 30 seconds on a script file. It might be more difficult depending on your environment, some than others, but I think as far as the first step, as long as the browsers make it easy enough to check a little box that says, hey, don't annoy me about this again on this website, then that would be good. But at least just bring some attention to it. I like the little stick approach. It's not a full stick. It's like a carrot-y stick.
It's a light stick.
Knocked in the head with a carrot from Mozilla.
Right. You can bite at the carrot as it's flying away. One way to protect yourself online is a VPN, and Australian users will soon have fewer VPNs to choose from, possibly. Mashable reports Australia's proposed copyright amendment, Online Infringement Bill 2015. Access to VPNs could be blocked if the service's primary purpose is found by a federal court judge to facilitate copyright infringement. Fiona Phillips, executive director of the Copyright Council, told a public hearing that geo-blocks were not the target of the law, as you might think in Australia. She said, if I were to set up a VPN called Highway to Pirate Bay, that service could and should be the subject of this legislation. However, several rights groups have pointed out that the vague nature of the bill could still be interpreted to target many legitimate uses of VPN. And even some legislators have said that, look, getting around geo-blocks is not against the law, so that shouldn't be a part of this. A parliamentary committee reviewing the bill will report back with recommendations by May 13th.
We covered this weeks ago when Netflix was shaking down Australian, I'm sorry, were they Australian or were they Kiwi? I forget now. New Zealand?
There were New Zealand ISPs that were advertising that they gave you IP addresses as part of their service that were outside of New Zealand, and hey, you can do all kinds of things with them.
Right. This is a slippery slope, and it really scares me because we talked about in that story how geofencing isn't a feature of the internet. It's just a happenstance that you can maybe figure out where someone is, but it's not a permanent thing. And IP addresses are not locations any more than they are people. And the idea that you would be expected to reveal what's inside of a VPN, that's just nonsense. That's the whole point of a VPN. It's none of your business what my internet traffic is. And if I'm taking the precautions to protect it from my ISP, then yeah, that's like breaking into someone's house, with a battering ram.
Although I don't get the sense that this bill is calling for you to know what's in the VPN. It's one of those inducement arguments, right? They're saying if the VPN's marketed in such a way that it says, here's a way to do easy copyright infringement, then it can be shut down. Now, that's interesting because how many people are using VPN simply for copyright infringement, right? So it seems pretty easy for VPN providers to get around that law as long as that's all the law was about. But the problem is the vague wording of it could mean that well, I know those guys are using it for Pirate Bay, even though they're not marketing it that way. So I'm going to go after them for this other thing that they're marketing it for that I think under this vague wording I can nail them on. And then you've opened a whole can of worms. Yeah, see, I think VPNs should be protected no matter what the marketing is. In fact, I feel like all packets should be protected. It's not your business what's in them. Hey, I actually think that you could make a law that says you can't advertise that your products should be used for breaking the law. And then that covers a lot of things, not just VPNs, doesn't target VPN particularly. And I don't think a lot of people have a problem with that. In fact, probably is already the law in Australia that you can't induce people to break the law. So I don't know, maybe they don't need this bill. That's what I'm thinking. I just feel like whatever they're trying to achieve, they should do it with a different law. Because that's just one of those, there will be so many unintended consequences with something going down that path. It's freaky.
And I don't want them to get anything passed that might give another nation some sort of ideas.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true, too. Speaking of, every 3 years, the United States Copyright Office considers proposed exemptions to Section 1201 of the Digital Copyright Act. The DMCA makes it a felony to break, quote, an effective means of access control. So, being able to make your DRM'd books more accessible to the blind, for instance, is an exemption they've given in the past. Boing Boing reports this year a petitioner has requested an exemption for the right to use unapproved materials in 3D printers. 3D printer maker Stratasys has asked the office to deny the exemption, claiming only one person wants to use unapproved materials in their 3D printers. So interested parties can reply if they are a second, third, or more person at digitalrighttorepair.org. They have a forum there.
Could you imagine if you had like a 1983 Mercedes diesel and you decided to put biodiesel in there, and the Mercedes was like, "Oh no, you can't put biodiesel in it." It's like, no, dude, I can. It's like my car.
Can you imagine if a tractor had software on it and your tractor broke and they said, no, you have to go to an authorized service dealer to fix it. You can't get in there and fix the software yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tom, I wouldn't want to live in that world. That's crazy nonsense land.
Isn't that crazy? All right. We get a lot of news from you. For instance, our top story on the subreddit today was the Tesla battery, which was our top story today. Captain Kipper also sent us an Ars Technica article at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com that we're about to talk about. So get in there and vote, folks. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com really helps us put together the show every day. This article that Captain Kipper sent was about Comcast bringing 2 gigabit per second service to 200,000 residents of Chattanooga, Tennessee, beginning in June. That's of note because back in April 2008, Comcast sued the Chattanooga Electric Power Board to prevent it from building a municipal fiber network that was faster than Comcast's network. Comcast lost. EPP built the network and launched gigabit service in 2009. 6 years later, hey, Comcast is twice as fast.
Yeah, competition, man. It's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Yeah, you can sue to prevent it, but that's going to delay your actual rollout of a competing service that people might want to buy.
Yeah, we always talk about how there's no competition in broadband. I want to see more municipal competition because that's just good for everybody.
Well, but there are plenty of states and municipalities who are passing laws against the municipality rolling out broadband,
which is crazy pants.
Which reduces competition.
How would that possibly happen? It's almost as if somebody were paid to make a bad decision for people.
Then there's sometimes when, I don't know, companies like Comcast sue in towns in Minnesota to prevent other private entities like CenturyLink from coming in and rolling out competitive service. That seems to dampen competition as well.
I don't know, man. It's almost as if they want to be the only game in town.
I would. Boring. I mean, I don't blame them. Of course I would want that. I don't think that's the way it should work, though, right?
No, I don't think so either. This is why we need our own independent infrastructure outside the telcos.
Magoo JC and starfuryzeta both sent us word that the Grooveshark music service has shut down as part of its settlement of various copyright infringement lawsuits. IT World reports Grooveshark will cease operations immediately, erase all copyrighted works from their servers. The company will also surrender ownership of the website, mobile apps, and intellectual property, and post a public apology. Grooveshark started in 2006, claiming it didn't need licenses from rights holders for music uploaded to the service, as it was protected by the DMCA safe harbor rules, just like YouTube. Today, in a statement, the company said, "We made very serious mistakes. We failed to secure licenses from rights holders for the vast amount of music on the service."
Yeah, it's Napster wasn't, how did the DMCA safe harbor rules apply to that? I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the VPNs and the inducement.
Yeah, absolutely. That inducement charge is what undid Napster and Kazaa
and it sounds like a little bit of what's making Grooveshark not happen.
Yeah, although I got to give the Grooveshark folks credit, they're plucky. They held out against this a lot longer than I expected them to be able to. So
so did Aereo.
Yeah, Grooveshark, though, 2006, man. That's
wow.
9 years. 9 years of fighting.
Well, I mean, impressive. 9 years, how big was the company?
It was a small company. Okay. And a losing battle from the outset, frankly. But you gotta admire the persistence.
I do.
And that's a look at the headlines. All right, let's talk about this Tesla Powerwall. It's a It's a battery, all right? It's a battery for your house. It's not exactly the same battery as they put in the car. They have engineered this particularly for home use. It is, and Tesla admitted this in the announcement, meant to work with an outside power source. Now, most likely solar. Most people aren't going to be putting wind turbines up on the top of their house, but it can provide the basis for variable power to be delivered. It can actually help electric utilities manage their peak usage better. I remember back in the early part of the 2000s going through brownouts in California, or voluntary brownouts where we would like dim the lights during the day to help ease the load. This is the kind of thing that can help that management if it's done right. And Tesla is launching not only in partnership with Amazon, as I mentioned earlier, and Target, but also AES, Southern California Edison, Advanced Grid Solutions. So they're trying to do this in cooperation with the utilities as well. The idea is that you have a big universal power supply in your house. And that might help you in some situations where off-peak rates are so much cheaper than peak rates, but it's really going to be best for somebody who's got a solar grid up on top and collects more energy during the day than they can use, and then when the sun goes down, they can, discharge from that battery and use energy during the night.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Batteries are the holy grail of green energy. There are awesome examples of just insane amounts of energy being produced in a very economically friendly and environmentally friendly way, say in the Mojave with gigantic solar arrays and stuff. The only problem with that is when the sun goes down, it's not so much making with the kilowatts. So you really have to have an efficient way to store that. And battery technology really needs to come a long way. This is some interesting stuff. It's kind of pricey. There's some other interesting peripheral technologies that are coming out around this. It's not just, typically you don't see lithium used as much in, say, consumer solar installations. You typically see lead acid. You also don't typically see batteries being installed outside because batteries are very susceptible to changes in the climate. For example, like a typical typical lead acid battery may last for 10 years if it's just in 77 degree Fahrenheit weather, but maybe only 5 years if it's in like 92 degrees Fahrenheit, or like a year and a half if you sit it baking in the desert at 100 degrees. So, yeah, this is some interesting stuff. It's basically it's definitely the tech that we need right now.
Yeah, so they have an operating range, they say, of -20 Celsius to 43 Celsius. So for U.S. people, that's -4 to 110. That's going to cover a large portion of the U.S. a large portion of the time. But folks in Minnesota, folks down in New Mexico, Arizona, already commenting on this, like, well, wait a minute, how do I make sure I can use this, especially in the heat, right? I mean, in the cold, you bring it inside, and whatever you're using to heat your home probably keeps the Powerwall at an good operating temperature as well. When you're talking about heat, that means that you're actually having to run the air conditioner more to keep your Powerwall working so that it can run the air conditioner more. And that seems like a little bit of going against the purpose.
Battle.
Yeah,
what's
right.
interesting about this, they're actually talking about, I mean, it's a really sexy looking box. I've got to hand it to them on that. And we could actually use just, if anything, that as far as like making solar attractive, on the side of a home. Ooh, it's like having a Mercedes badge or something, or a Tesla badge in this case. But it's interesting that they actually posit that the way they're billing it as the wall, right? Because it's a big honking unit, right? And they've made it look a little pretty sleek. Then they make it curved, calling it a power wall as something that you would mount to the side of your house. Typically, you want to keep those in somewhere that's like, underneath your house in a crawl space or something like that.
You keep it in a garage or something like that. Yeah.
So they must have done something really interesting with the cooling. I also think it's interesting that they're keeping these things at such high voltage. So instead of doing them in parallel, they're doing them in series so that they actually increase the voltage of the cells, something like 400 volts. So they've figured out some cool stuff, which allows them to basically use thinner gauge wire. So this must be a lot more, a lot less expensive to build, a lot less copper, stuff like that. It's always good. To put this into perspective, I recently built a 5 kilowatt, so not not a 7 kilowatt, but a 5 kilowatt system for the Hack Across America van, complete with 500 watts of solar panels on the roof and the charge controllers and all of the accoutrements that you need. So not just the battery system. And my system came out to about $4,500, but that's using AGMs, or amorphous glass mats, otherwise known as just lead-acid batteries. And so I don't think price competitive, but it's definitely a lot sexier.
And lead-acid batteries are bigger, right? They're heavier than lithium ion. Although this thing at 220 pounds is not light. This is not something that I was joking with you before the show. You could bolt onto the side of your van.
Right. I forget what. I think mine are about 60 pounds per battery, and I have 4 of those. So yeah, comparable actually.
Yeah, that is pretty close. I think you're right about the price. It's actually not a bad price per watt hour, frankly. But when you're talking about buying batteries, it is expensive for someone who isn't sure they need it. And I saw a lot of people commenting that they don't see how this would make sense in their house. It's not going to save them. Somebody figured out it's going to save me $93 a month. Like, that's going to take a long time to pay off.
You're looking at it wrong. You're looking at it completely wrong. That's not what it's saving you. What it's doing is giving you complete energy independence. It's very similar to
it's not. No, but see, hold on. That's what I'm saying is if you just buy this battery, it's not giving you energy independence, and it's not saving you a lot of money. If you combine it with solar,
right,
then you're talking about energy independence.
Right. Couple it with solar, and you've got a system where not only are you not using, potentially, depending on if you've got like energy efficient appliances in your house and stuff like that, but 7 kilowatts is a lot. Like, you could run a lot of stuff off that. So this could be good for a small home where you can be completely independent from the grid, and in fact even selling it back to the grid. So no, I'm not making the case that just this battery is going to cost, I'm not saying that this is more cost efficient than typical systems, but it is a lot more interesting, and it's the next.
Yeah, I guess what I was trying to say was it's not going to be obviously cost efficient if you don't have solar. If you're just putting this in a house on its own, there might be use cases. I'm considering it. I'm like, gosh, having an uninterruptible power supply that just won't fail, right? Because it can run the whole house is pretty appealing, but it's expensive for that. When you combine it with solar, though, and you're like, well, wait a minute, now I've got energy independence, and even in a state like California where you can't sell your power back into the grid, you don't worry about it. You don't need to. It's helping you avoid the grid. Maybe not altogether, but almost, because you can store that power.
Yeah, you were talking about when you lived in essentially a power drought in California, and if that were ever to be the case again, you'd be very happy with a system, this or any other, that'll allow you to have that independence. And I feel like it goes along with the same lines of cord cutting, of like removing your gaining independence and removing your reliance from all of these different service, be them cable companies, telcos, or whatever have you. So the more self-sufficient you can be, I feel like the better. And I feel like this lithium-ion technology for solar and all of that coming to the consumer is really good. It's a great first step. I feel like it probably has a long way to go as far as what the prices and the watt hours are concerned right now, but you have to make that first step, and they're doing some amazing stuff with the gigaplant, so hopefully that this will continue to grow.
It's one of those things where I want enough people to buy this so that it's viable and the price comes down so I can buy it cheaper later.
Yeah, it's like the original Tesla, the Model S. Not the Model S, the original. The model doesn't have suspension.
Yeah, the Tesla. I don't remember what,
It was like on a Lotus frame. Anyway.
The one that almost drove them into selling themselves to Google, and then they sold the Model S in large enough numbers that they didn't have to do that. Let's move on to our pick of the day. It's UX Pin. Thank you to Mike, a boss in the Great White North, for sending this. Mike says it's the best prototype wireframe software I've ever used. It's simple, easy, and intuitive with built-in user testing and great sharing features, a must-have for any UX designer. And you can try it out for free at uxpin.com. I think you can download a free version, try it out there. And I don't do a lot of user design myself, so I can't say whether it's good or not, but if you're a user designer, go check it out. Might be something worth playing around with. uxpin.com. Send your picks to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com, and you can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. A couple emails before we get out of here. John in Detroit responded to the developers who were skeptical, who wrote in yesterday about developing for both Android and Windows, even in this new world where an Android APK can be easily turned into a Windows app. John says, what I think many people are getting confused about with the news about iOS and Android apps running on Windows is that they are not just side-loading an APK and having it run in an emulator. What Microsoft is doing is allowing Visual Studio to take code written in the app's native format, Java for Android, Objective-C for iOS, and the compiler will interpret the code and build it into a Windows app. This will mean more native apps for Windows and not just reused apps from other services. Microsoft has also provided APIs for developers to use in place of Google services to fix the majority of back-end issues. As a college senior in mobile development, this is great news for me as it allows me to use one code base and add a few tweaks for each platform. And he points to an article at The Verge talking about it. I think it's the same article we linked to in the show notes the other day. But I see what John's saying. It's interesting. The developers yesterday, Darren, were complaining that, you know what, it's still a lot of cost to have to go through these hoops, and, you know, and I'm not going to have the Google services, so now I've got to figure out how to deal with that. John's saying they do that for you in Visual Studio. It's going to be fine. And I think it's the difference between working in a large environment and working on your own, like John is. If I'm working on my own, I see this as a huge time saver, right? I'm like, oh, so I just spent a couple more hours and then I can put my app in the Windows Store? Of course I'm going to do that. If I'm working at scale in some large organization where I now have to manage teams and to make sure that those guys are doing it right and they've bug checked the Windows version, I'm going to be less likely to want to do it.
No, this is epic, especially for the indie developer. I love the fact that mobile has brought that back, where just like it was in the 80s with video games where you would have epic titles coming out with only one name on it, you have that same kind of thing right now. And yeah, the thing is you don't always have the manpower being just one guy in a garage to develop an app for multiple platforms if you don't know it's going to go viral. But then as soon as it does, and say you're only on Android, now everybody on iOS has a want for that, and then all the other developers are going to try to fill that niche. So yeah, that's huge for the indies.
And finally, back on October 5th, 2014, Franz wrote into the show regarding the Windows 10 continuum model. We talked about it yesterday. That's the idea that I will have Windows adapt based on whatever screen I'm using. So if it's a hybrid and I pull the tablet off, it'll go to a tablet interface. And at Build yesterday or 2 days ago, they demonstrated how they now can use a phone like a computer because of continuum. Franz says, said back on October 5th, having the same OS on the phone as on the desktop opens up the possibility to plug your phone into a docking station and have it be literally your PC in your pocket. I wrote back to him with all kinds of reasons why there might be problems with that. Franz wrote back yesterday and said, called it!
Yeah,
he was right.
Ubuntu demoed this like years ago, right?
Oh, yeah, which one? You talking about the Firefox one?
No. Canonical showed off like, ooh, Ubuntu on a phone, and look.
Oh, and the Firefox one is even older than that. But you're right.
Right.
Canonical had a better version of it. With Ubuntu. Well, and that's what I was right. That's what I was writing back to him. I was like, look, Ubuntu is, they tried this, and there's issues with the device drivers, etc.
Tom, I say you just give up your Mac for a Wise dummy terminal, and I'll get you some terminal services over to.
I thought that's what I had.
Yes, Tom, that's what you have.
It's just a dummy terminal to the cloud.
It's true. Swap it for a Chromebook.
Yeah, I kind of forget what operating system I'm using at any point these days. It's all happening in the browser, it seems like.
Yeah.
And that is it for this episode of the Daily Tech News Show. Thank you to Darren Kitchen for being here most Fridays. So happy to have you on as a contributor, Darren. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being on the Supercast earlier this week. That was a lot of fun. And go check out what Darren's up to. He's got all kinds. He's great shows. It's not just Hack 5 anymore. You got a whole suite of shows over there.
Right. We actually just had to change the banner on the YouTube. Hack5.org/YouTube is actually where you can just get to all the videos most easily. But we just have to change the banner there to show off Tech Thing and ThreatWire, which just relaunched, and we just launched the Patreon for that. And we're doing 3. That's a show all about. It's a summary of security, privacy, and internet freedom. And it's really great. We're doing it with Shannon and Patrick Norton, so 3 times a week covering all of the threats to internet security and whatnot. Very exciting to be doing that every Friday. I think Patrick's taking Monday and Shannon's taking Wednesday. And so, yeah, all sorts of good stuff on the collective that is Hack5 now.
Check it out, hak5.org. Len Peralta, that is amazing.
Oh, come on. You know, I said before the show that this was going to be like terrible. It actually turned out okay.
It turned out great.
You lie like a rug. It's amazing.
You should have seen it a half an hour ago. It was pretty rough. But for the people who cannot see it, it's an image of Ultron who is being powered by a Tesla Powerwall, and it says Tesla powers Ultron. And of course, you know, I drew Jenny as Black Widow and Tom as Captain America, and Darren has a nice little cameo as the Hulk down here.
The hack.
The hack! I love it.
The incredible hack.
It turned out better than I thought, but yes, and this is available on my online store right now.
And then the caption makes it too. He's saying, "I've got no strings on me. Wait, maybe I do."
I'm gonna for the video viewers. I want to show people something because I'm really excited. One of the reasons I was a little bit crazy before the show was because I had a great big shipment of things come to my house, and what they are is my new Geek Week cards, the new Geek Week sets, of which you are a part of, Tom. It's season 1 of Geek Week is not only is it for the first time collected all together in one convenient little package, but it's a game too. It's a standalone game that works with by itself or with the game Epic vs. Awesome. So you can kind of take a look and see here. These are available right now at my online store. You can order them. They won't ship until the 11th, but they'll be ready to go for you to order tonight. And I'll have some on hand.
Man.
If you're in Cleveland, I'll be at the at Carol and John's comic book shop for Free Comic Book Day, doing free sketches, and I have a bunch of really cool prints there, all comic book themed, and my Geek Week cards. So.
Fantastic. Go check all that out. LenPeraltaStore.com. Also, thank you to our patrons. This is what you have made. If you have helped the show out in any way, whether it's by backing us on Patreon or all the people who very generously recently upped their Patreon amounts, or you're sending links in the chat room, you know who you are, or you're making music for the show, or whatever you're doing, pat yourself on the back and look at what you've helped us do. I really can't thank everybody enough. DailyTechNewsShow.com/support for all the ways to support the show. Our email address is feedback@DailyTechNewsShow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 593-2459. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. on alphageekradio.com and visit our website, DailyTechNewsShow.com. We'll be back Monday with our soon-to-be official contributor, Veronica Belmont. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Awesome.
Just got my Geek a Week cards and the video game series. I didn't realize you had done the Heroes of Video Games.
Oh yeah, that one's really cool. That isn't a game. That hasn't been turned into a game yet.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I saw the Doom guy and I was done.
That is actually Notch. That's I interviewed Notch.
Really?
And I drew him. Yeah,
nice.
That's Notch.
Have you guys seen these pictures of cats wearing Apple Watches?
Yes.
No, but I need to.
Here, I'll put it up with the link to it. The Verge wrote them up. It's amazing. One of them is wearing it like a
classic internet thing to say.
Yes, but do you make it in cat size?
It's in the chat room. No, it's like one cat is wearing it like it's a what's the thing around his neck? Words,
Collar?
Jenny.
Collar?
Words. Not even. Better. It looks like a
Leash?
cravat or a cummerbund or a
Like a
what's
human
the
thing. Okay.
Yeah,
What's
a choker.
the thing around your
The
like
third
a choker.
one down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's my favorite.
That's good.
Feel the power of voting
Oh
for
my
show
God.
titles.
So wait. Does it actually like get the cat's like heartbeat and all of that stuff too?
That's a good question.
Oh my gosh.
Slap.
There's going to be an entire market for pet. I'm calling it right now. There's going to be a whole market for wearables for pets that will tell you all about Floofy's heart rate and how much activity she's getting.
They'll call them purrables.
Oh, that's cute.
What if it's for a dog, though?
Woofables.
A woofable.
Or
Woofable.
furrables.
I'm out.
Actually, we're
I'm
playing.
done.
We're
Good night,
we're playing
everybody.
Woofable at the ballpark on Sunday.
Furrables. You're right. Tom has it. It's furrables.
Furrables.
Oh, man.
Oh man, sell those to some furries.
That was
Ooh.
that was really special.
So, what was it? What's his name? Tom the Talking Cat? Is that right? Yeah, Talking Tom. He would. The guy. They had somebody dressed up as Talking Tom at YouTube yesterday, and someone said, "Oh, the furries are here." And I don't think the person really meant what it sounded like they were saying when they said it. So it just made me laugh when that story was related to me. The furries are downstairs. Really? Okay.
All right, guys. I got a motor. I got to start putting some of these together for tonight.
All right, man. Have a good free comic book day.
Yes, you too. Everybody enjoy Ultron if you have not seen it yet.
Tip your waitress.
See ya.
Bye. LenPeraltaStore.com. What are we titling this? Huh?
Good question. Cuba.
I have the power ball.
Tattoo gate.
Mm,
I have the power wall. As in,
I have the power wall.
the current will find a way is kind of cute.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is.
Kind of.
It is. 'Cause
I
it's
like scrolls
current,
like butter.
right.
Scrolls
Only
like
if
butter's
it's-
good.
Only if
I'm
it's
liking that.
spelled Buttah.
Is there another way to
Scroll.
spell butter?
That's how you spell
There's
butter.
you're from
That's how you spell butter.
Buttah. It's like
Buttah.
butter.
Butter zone now.
Tesla drives it home.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
That's a smart
That-
title.
That one I almost rejected, and then like the more I thought about it, the more windows into it opened up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good.
Maybe we should go with that.
I
Tesla drives it
Yeah.
home.
It's making it to the top.
It's with a bullet.
I feel like friendship with Len Peralta has its privileges because I have now been drawn as both Princess Leia and Black Widow. Like
That Black Widow was good too,
that Black Widow is awesome.
Yes.
especially having just seen the show.
And I like how each of the characters accurately reflects like some of our essential character.
Yeah, like Darren is really built.
Yeah, sure. I feel like I'm cheating in that I get DTNS Friday with Len. It's like you should.
Yeah,
Len, you should.
it's like you have the cheat code to DTNS.
People are gonna get
Right.
tired. I mean, the wall of Len has like featured too many times. I feel guilty. I feel like Veronica should get some Len. And
She does. She has Warkete.
Mhm.
She has an epic drawing of
That's true.
Warkete.
Warkete.
Next Supercast, we definitely need to get Len.
Yeah, that was my fault.
No, just to draw the poster.
No,
size.
there was like a fault.
It just means that there's more reason to do another.
There was
You're
just
right.
a fault in our stars.
There was a fault in our star. There was one fault in
don't
our
even
stars.
start.
I unashamedly liked that movie, by the way. I never read
you've
the
seen the movie?
book. Yeah.
Which movie?
I didn't think it was
The
out.
Fault in Our Stars.
Wait, the movie's
I haven't
out?
seen that.
Yeah, the movie came out last summer.
Oh, I'm thinking of the new one.
Or
I'm
winter.
thinking of
Maybe it was fall.
John Green's new one. What's it called?
Oh, I don't know what the next one is.
Paper Towns.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
No, I read the synopsis for The Fault in Our Stars, and I'm like, I don't know if I can go down that road. But Paper
It's
Towns.
got wait, was it? What's the guy?
John Green?
One of the guys from Fantastic Four. Is he in it? I don't know. It's got that girl from Divergent. I don't know anybody's name.
Shailene Woodley, Ansel Elgort. No, yeah, Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort.
Yeah. See,
That guy.
not that easy to say.
That guy. Those two people that I hadn't even gotten tired of Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield yet, and all of a sudden there's two new hotnesses.
Emma Stone
can't
and Andrew
keep up.
Garfield, so old. Oh my gosh, they're for old people.
When they start saying that those two are old, I really just want to bang my head repeatedly against things. Come on, come on.
All right. Well, I have to get to recording ThreatWire. We're talking about the
Yeah, no kidding.
Trojan.
No problem, man.
Yep, some WordPress goodies, and I don't know, like 350 potentially vulnerable Wi-Fi routers. I mean, you probably don't want to have one at home or anything, but you know.
No, because no one has those
D-Link,
brands. They're not
ThreadNet,
the most
Basis.
common brands in the world.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
all good.
Don't go listen to ThreatWire if you want to be safe.
Yeah, it would be terrible if you did that. All right, I
Yeah.
will see you next week, Tom. Thanks. It was
All
a
right.
pleasure, boys.
Thanks,
Bye.
man. Take
Cheers,
care.
guys.
Hey, is there a missing link in the CG? It says better story on the actual science of the above story, but I don't see a second link.
Somebody delete the link.
Yeah, maybe me. It's
Wait,
possible it
which
was
one?
me. I'll just say it was me. How about that?
No, wait. Which story?
Sorry, not in Daily Tech News Show. I'm doing bad things.
Oh wait, so you're not talking about Daily Technician?
I'm not talking about Daily Tech News Show.
Okay.
Um,
Like, oh no, I'm confused.
sorry.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
that story from Mysterious Universe is very light
Yeah,
on the
just
actual detail.
tell me where you thought the good one was. I'll go find it.
There it is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's the one I used for the other show. Then their other show.
Yeah, that one's
Shoes.
decent. The other one's all about having a good headline.
Yeah.
And having a good head on your shoulders.
Put
Plus-
your head on my shoulder.
This
what?
article that you just sent has a picture of a Vulcan command ship, which is the snazziest ships.
The IO9 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they know how to like stoke your hyped fires but also provide accurate information.
Yeah.
They do.
That Charlie Jane,
She knows.
she knows what she's doing.
I still don't like the format that Gawker imposed for the websites, but it works.
Yeah. I mean, and Annalie deserves credit. She built IO9.
Yeah. Well, both of them.
She's
did.
off. She's off being Gizmodo now, though.
They, Charlie and
Yeah, that's right. I mean, she
Ellie
built it
worked
with
on
Charlie.
together.
Yeah.
She told me the day they went and talked to what's his name? Who's the guy who runs Gawker?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
They went to his office and they're talking. to
Nick
him about-
Denton?
Yeah, Denton.
Yeah.
Pitching the idea.
Oh, when they sold them on IO9.
Yeah,
It's such a
I need to
good
put
site.
IO9
Really
in-
enjoys
it's
it.
great.
In a different
Great.
Feedly
It's
folder.
great.
What I like
Right.
is the almost seamless approach to like involving both science and science fiction and pop,
Yeah.
topics.
I always want to read everything. Like sometimes they even do history and archaeology.
It's just
Hey,
you know,
what are
it's-
some other... Wait, hold on. I have a question for the both of you.
Mhm.
What are some other sites like IO9 that are really good in terms of more sci-fi-ish news? Or I should add Grantland. I'm upping my Feedly for certain shows,
Mhm.
and I'm.
Well, do you want
so
like? I'm sorry.
Well, what are the sites so not tech sites, right? Not tech sites, but what are some of the sites like IO9, say like different than Huffington Post, not the Daily Mail, more like IO9, like nerdy. What's the best websites for nerdy pop culture besides The Verge? That
Do you
sort
want me
of
to tell
thing.
you what's in my sci-fi folder in Feedly?
No, I think I have your sci-fi folder in Feedly because I got your OPML when I started the show for the tech stuff. But you can tell me
I've
maybe
added
you changed
things.
it. That's true.
A dribble of ink.
All right.
That's very book oriented, sci-fi and fantasy book
Yeah,
oriented.
that's
But
good.
they do publish
That's good.
stuff about TV shows and movies that are being made out of those books. Omni, the Omni reboot.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Patrick Rothfuss,
Right. That's
John
important.
Scalzi, Tor,
Oh, I have Tor. Tor's
Tor.
great.
Okay.
SF Signal, which is also very book oriented. The Wort Zone.
What is that?
That is a guy named Adam Whitehead in the UK. He just blogs about geeky stuff.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Boing Boing. I have that in tech, but Boing Boing covers a lot of that stuff too.
Right.
I do.
Roger?
Well, I do top. Like some of this is. I have Fizz.org, or Phys. What's it?
Good one.
It's strictly science. It's not.
No, that's good too. Phys-org.
Let's see. Try to find it. Yeah, Phys.org, phys.org, and it's specifically science. There was one that Annalie gave me for a long time ago for medical, and it was great, and I'm totally spacing on it right now because I don't have it in my feed. The other one is Topless Robot.
Yeah, someone just said that in the chat room.
Topless Robot is actually really good. I wasn't sure when they were switching writers, like the guy who managed the site, that there was a changeover a couple of years ago. I wasn't sure if they would be able to keep it up, but it's been pretty good. I do like, aggregator sites like Ain't It Cool News and Geeks Are Sexy.
I forgot about Ain't It Cool because the world, that's a good one. Ain't it? Wait, what was the second one you said?
Geeks Are Sexy.
After Ain't It Cool?
Okay.
Nice.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
First of all, I tried HBO on Sling just to see what the offering was like, and I decided, you know what, it's not for me. HBO Now is a much better offering for me. I could see where the HBO might be great for some people on Sling. So I went to take it out, all prepared to have to make a phone call. Nothing. Unchecked it, press save. Done. Removed that. Now, just got an email from Sling saying Bloomberg has moved packages. You used to be able to only get Bloomberg if you got the World News Extra package, but they've moved Bloomberg to their base package, which is called Best of Live TV. So they said in the email, if you've got New World News Extra, you don't have to do anything. But if you only added the World News Extra for Bloomberg, you might consider removing the World News Extra since you now got Bloomberg as part of your Best of Live TV package. Like, what company does that?
What?
Hey, we want to let you know we moved a channel out. If that was the only reason you were getting that package, you might want to go cancel it.
Wow, that's my brain is still sort of processing that in a nifty way.
Yeah, where's the catch, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. So wait, they're giving you a package you already have.
So you pay $20 for Sling, and you get a certain lineup of channels. You pay $5 extra for these other packages. One of them is called World News. Bloomberg was in that $5 a month package. They just took Bloomberg and put it in the base package and sent me an email saying, hey, we moved this. So, if you were only paying for World News because of Bloomberg, then you might want to take it off. And combined with my experience with HBO, I know that taking it off isn't a trick to get me to go call retention. It's actually taking me to the page. All I have to do is go to the page and uncheck it, and it will be gone.
So it's great.
Wow.
Yeah, it's consumer friendly.
No, the way you were describing it, I thought it was like, that's why I was like, you sounded kind of negative about it. And I was like,
It makes me laugh because what I really want to say is, I don't understand, Tom. I don't understand.
No, it's hard to understand.
The other one was Bob Sci.
What you're saying doesn't make sense, Tom.
I also subscribe to Bob Sci, and I used to do New Scientist, and then American.
Oh, New Scientist, all right.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, sorry. I was just
No,
shocked by that email. And I'm out of the post, by the way.
Woohoo! Phys.org is great. You'll love it.
So are you talking about Ultron today on Kuriki, or are you waiting a week?
No, but it wasn't in any of the...
Yeah.
Nobody talked about it. I don't know. I don't know if Jesse Thorne has seen it, so I don't want to make him talk about it. We don't normally just do reviews like that.
Right.
But I was going to leave it sort of as
up to the people.
Yeah. Well, up to the people, up to the guest, and then if we're talking about it before the show, then I'll be like, hey, well, let's talk about this in the show. I was leaving it loose that way.
This is where I need just a place to go and say the things I need to say, but it's a little early, and so I'm probably going to end up saying them to the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
you're nobody's seen it yet. You can't talk about it, so you have to just go talk to the wall about it.
Well, we're going to talk about it on Cord Killers on Monday.
Yeah. I'm just dying.
I guess that's why I'm not dying.
Just by the end of the weekend, other people will be talking about it. I have so many thoughts. Where do they go? All right. Okay.
Do a Medium post.
I know, but then I'll have to write a Medium post.
Good point.
That's my current issue. It's I can either
they
prepare.
They don't happen on their own.
I know. I could either prepare for the big boxing party we're about to have, or go write a Medium post for 3 hours about it.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract. I'm just full of thoughts. IGN.
Well, those are all the thoughts you're getting, people. Have a great weekend. We'll bring you more thoughts on Monday.